I'm sorry for your loss for Ace Frehley, man. God
Thank
bless
you.
him. God bless him. Rest in peace. He was one of the best. And how was yeah uh, how was working with him, and how did that whole combination of you two became about the about his last album?
Yeah, well, I'd known Ace for, a long, long time. I met Ace. Coincidentally, I met Ace for the first time backstage at Skid Row Bon Jovi on the New Jersey tour at the Meadowlands Arena when Ace came out. I don't know if you remember, Ace came out and they did Cold Gin that night with Skid Row, and Snake introduced me to him in the dressing room, and and it was quintessential Ace. Snake brought me over. Hey, Ace, this is my friend Steve. He's in the band Trickster, and Ace just goes, "Hey, Steve, how you doing? Great to meet you. I'm Ace." And it was like I know who you are, man. You're one of my heroes. But over in 2022, I believe it was when Ace started doing his first set of shows again after COVID, when everybody was starting to get back out there.
Yeah.
Or it might have even been, I don't know what year it was, but whatever. We had just released Tokyo Motor Fist Lions, and that was getting a big buzz around the industry. And so we got invited, Tokyo Motor Fist got invited to open up for Ace at a couple East Coast shows. And a bunch of the guys in his camp, and John Astronomy, his manager, and Phil Dealey, who used to work for Trickster back in the day, they were like, "Man, we got to get you hooked up with Ace. You got to work, man." They love that Tokyo Motor Fist record. They're like, "Ace, you and Ace would be a great combination." So, and then his fiance at the time, Lara Cove, who's a dear friend of mine, and PJ and I, we grew up with her. She's a Jersey girl. She grew up a couple towns away from us. Um, she was the one who said, "Send me the ideas and I'll get them to Ace, and let's just try keep doing this." So I just came in my studio, and as the biggest Kiss fan and Ace fan, I was like, what would I want him to do now? Like, what kind of songs would I want him to write? And what would I want to hear as a fan? Most importantly, that's what we like to do, is be able to hear those songs that, make our blood boil. And so I came down here, and the first thing I, worked on was the idea what became Walking on the Moon. And I sent him a couple ideas, which were Walking on the Moon, Fighting for Life, Cherry Medicine. I think I had some Constantly Cute, a couple other things, and
Yeah.
I sent him these rough, finished things. They were kind of, Walking on the Moon had a lot of what's on the record, and I sent it to him. And about 3 months later, I kid you not, dude, I'm getting out of the shower, I'm dripping wet, and my phone rings, and I see it, and phone it says Paul Freely, and I'm like, holy shit, he's finally calling. And I pick up the phone. He goes, "Hey, Steve, what's up? It's Ace." He goes, "I listened to these ideas." He goes, "This stuff's great." And he goes, and then immediately he starts going into, and Walking on the Moon wasn't called Walking on the Moon. It was something else. And he was like, "Yeah, we're going to change the title. I got the hook. It's called Walking on the Moon. That's going to be the title of the record, blah, blah, blah." And he talks for like 5 minutes, and I'm just sitting there going, "This is awesome." And it was really cool because we hadn't even gotten together, but already there was a common connection, and I
Yeah.
could tell he was so excited. And then he goes, "When can you come over?" Because Ace is living in Jersey, I'm in New Jersey. He lives about 45 minutes away from me. So about 5 days later, I went to his house, and we finished writing the lyrics and the melodies for Walking on the Moon. And actually, that first day, we did 90% of the vocals that are on there. And then later that night, after the first time we worked together, later that night, he went down in the studio. He was so excited he couldn't sleep, that he went down to the studio and he wrote the bridge and recorded it himself. And then what I had to do was cut it up and move it into where it is now. And basically, that first week we had that song done. And then I did a mix of Walking on the Moon. I sent it to the record label, Monarch Heavy in New York City. and they flipped out. Everybody flipped out. We were sending it to all of our confidants and consiglieres, the lawyers, the managers, the agents, and everybody was like, "We want that. That's the new record." And we were off to the races. And the next song we cut was Fighting for Life, which has become definitely one of the fan favorites from the 10,000 Volts record. And it was just incredible. It was an incredible time, and we became so close and had so much fun making the record. He would come here and work. We would do like one day at his house, one day here. And here, man, here, let me show you. Here's a bunch of some of his handwritten lyrics.
Wow, man.
He would always, the first day he came here, I didn't have any of these legal pads. And he goes, "Steve, you got to go to Staples," which is the, stationery store. "You got to go to Staples and get some pads." So I went out and got a bunch. So, it's just incredible, man. I mean, I still have a hard time believing that he's gone. His spirit's here. Luckily he graciously gave me a couple guitars. When we finished the record, he gave me his Les Paul that we used that he would keep here. And he said, "I want you to have this because, I know we're going to be making a lot more music, and I love you." And it was just really, really incredible. And, we had a lot more music left to make. And I have a bunch of ideas that were going to be on the next record. He was working on Origins 3 with his old engineer producer Alex Saltzman, and then we were going to continue working on what was going to be the follow-up for 10,000 Volts, but sadly that's not to be. So God bless you, Ace. We miss you.
God bless. Do you maybe have some leftovers of those records that can be released as new songs? Maybe he recorded with you something else besides that, like demos or something?
Yeah, I mean, we have some rough stuff, some stuff that wasn't finished. Right after 10,000 Volts was released, we were going to do a deluxe version that was going to have some alternate mixes, we have different drummers that played on songs multiple times, so there's different versions of songs. So I have a feeling someday that'll get taken care of. The estate, Monique and Jeanette, Ace's daughter and his wife, the estate has to take care of it. It's all in legal stuff. It's not up to me, and it's not up to the record label. But I believe, that at someday in the next couple of years, all the stuff that we have will release. I have a live record that we recorded in 2024, the summer of 2024, a multi-camera video shoot, from that show that hopefully that gets to see the light of day. So there is stuff, and I'm hoping that all the lawyers play nice in the sandbox, and we're able to get everything released properly, because Ace deserves it.